Hello, everyone. It has been a little bit of a delay, starting a little bit longer than expected, but we're here with you for our first Overwatch match of the semester. NACE Varsity Premier, your Overwatch Gold team, coming at you live from Tampa with this chilly weather going on.
Going against Stony Brook University tonight. So we've got an exciting game ahead here. I'm glad that we've kind of sorted out some of the tech issues that might have been caused by the cold weather, so stay warm, of course. We've got a lot to go over. We can go straight in here with our players. Let's go over our roster for the night.
So it is a new semester, so we have new players coming out of the gold team, some new faces, some old faces you may remember. We have the usual Asura on the tank, bringing out the Ramajra, bringing out the Hazard, bringing down the Pain. And we have some new faces on the roster. Jacques Aranda coming in to play DPS this semester, Nasty on the Tracer. Very excited to see what he can do. Some more returners. We see Source coming back, also pretty nasty on the Tracer, so I'm curious to see who they've worked out is going to be the designated Tracer player of the roster. And bringing it back from prior semesters, we have Rework back to play some more support, riveting Juno Brig gameplay. Very excited to see that. And then our other new face on the roster is Shadow coming in, an absolutely diabolical Vendetta player, but is going to be playing support. Very solid on that role, and I'm really excited to see what this roster can do.
Yeah, we've got some really interesting switches up in this roster. We've got some new faces, as you've already said, and it's going to be really exciting to see what comes out of this game, especially balancing out who plays who. You know, we've got a lot of overlap here, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a very flexible roster. Most of the people, pretty much all of the players on this team can play more or less at least 2 roles, maybe 3. Like we even saw last semester some of Oscar running over to the Wu Yang playing support.
Oh yeah,
putting
true.
the tank player into the support jail. So pretty much everybody on this roster can play really anything, but I think we're going to see our standard lineup of our tank, our 2 DPS players, and our 2 supports. But right now, just waiting on map selection and bans, as we're just going to be hanging around, and I don't know what to expect. Map pool's new, players have new preferences, so what are we thinking?
I'm not sure what to think. Honestly, I don't know. I'm really excited to be surprised. We do have a new hero in the pool as well to talk about, Vendetta, a new melee character in the damage role. I mean, this is new. Melee in Overwatch 2. Exciting.
Well, we do have our 2 favorite melee characters, Big Shield and Little Shield, Reinhardt and the Brig. But we didn't have any. I mean, you could argue that Genji is kind of a melee DPS.
Technically,
yes.
But
a lot of your damage is coming out of the shuriken. So he's a DP. He's a melee DPS 25% of the time whenever you pull that Dragon Blade out.
Conditional melee.
Conditional melee when you press the Q button.
And the dash.
And the dash. And the melees. Now when you have the new perk that no, that's Tracer. Tracer's with the reload whenever you hit the melee. Which, speaking of perks, so much chaos could happen in these games now with all the perks that have been added in the past 6 months.
Yeah, they've changed up a lot of perks over the time that they've added them. There's so much to keep up with now, especially with how people can like build their characters up throughout the game. And it can change a lot, honestly, with the balancing of characters. I've noticed there's been a lot of changes around with certain characters. I feel like Juno's has gotten changed a lot.
Yeah, Juno now having... Well, they took out the Meta Blaster crit as a perk, and now it's just part of her base kit.
Which is crazy.
That makes me very happy, because you could do some diabolical things on that character nowadays.
It is so evil.
You can just... Juno's a DPS character now, because also you were already using your Proton Torpedoes to try and hit as many people as possible, build as much ult charge. You can get 25... You can get almost 25%, I believe, off of a single volley if you hit everybody, which is insane. Yeah. Especially because Ray is kind of... busted, not gonna lie. Not so much anymore now. It's still just your usual Kiriko Lucio backline, but I don't think we're gonna see any of that tonight because our backline, I don't think either of them play Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a bit of a change in our support comps, so I'm gonna be interested in seeing what support comps we get tonight. I'm super excited for that, me personally.
I'm expecting probably Kiriko. It's Kiriko jail. It's always Kiriko jail. We're playing in an elo where pretty much it's Kiriko jail. Like,
yeah.
But then with the rest of it, I don't really know what we're gonna pair with that. I don't believe either of them play Brig. I don't expect to see Juno as much as we glazed the new kit with Meta Blaster crit. That would be. I haven't seen a lot of Juno lately, but you know, you can be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be surprised, but. I mean, we got to think, like, what plays good with Kiriko and what doesn't play good with Kiriko?
I mean, effectively everything.
Yeah.
Kiriko can deadlift the roster, but effectively anything. Out of this team, though, however, the main core that they'll be working around is the tank player, because most tank players usually have your small little pool of characters that you like to play. And Asura usually sticking with the Hazard, the Ramatra. I believe we had him over on a little bit of like Arisa and Roadhog last semester.
We saw a Diva once or twice, I think.
Diva, yep, yeah. I forgot Diva existed. Oh, I'm very sad I remembered
you
that.
forgot, and then you remembered.
I'm too used to playing the wonderful joys of support and not having to deal with that character. But probably going to be a Brawl and Rush focused comps, as that is Asura's primary focus. He doesn't really play most of the dive heroes. We don't see the Winston. We don't see the Wrecking Ball. We don't see the Doomfist, also because Doomfist is kind of a throw pick. But
yeah, he's kind of tough to balance. I mean, he is just kind of like a glorified DPS right now.
Well, And that's because he used to be a DPS back in the olden days.
Well, yes.
Back in the good old days whenever we had DPS Doomfist. And I know 99% of the people watching me right now are disagreeing with me because I remember it was terrible. He was overtuned, but those days are gone. He's just over in the tank role now, being a little bit silly. Sometimes he's broken, sometimes he's not. We know there's a couple streamers out there that are very happy when he just simply exists.
Yeah.
But speaking of that right now, we're just getting a little bit of info now. We're actually going to be taking it to Ilios. I am excited. I love Ilios, as my little frog heart desires. We get to go play on Ilios.
Your frog heart, you say?
I love Lucioing. It's so much fun. You just...
Every day I wake up and the trauma of Lucio hits me.
Getting stuck in Lucio prison, which that's actually a little bit interesting. We've pretty much lost all of our Lucio players. Because Source is over on DPS now. He used to be a Lucio player way back in the day when he was on support, but now he's been playing the DPS role for a couple of semesters now. So probably, like the rest of us, we don't really play Lucio anymore. He kind of got eliminated by the fact that Juno existed, so that's a little bit sad.
Yeah, as far as mobility goes, Juno's a little bit easier to play with. Can do a lot more of supporting with the team.
Definitely, but Lucio is still coming in the value with just having that beat, and we are going to see the Vendetta is actually going to be banned by Stony Brook for Ilios. And I don't know if that's a little bit of a target ban, expecting potentially Shadow coming out on DPS, but I don't really know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either, honestly, but could be interesting. Could mean that we potentially see Vendetta later, but I'm not too sure.
I would honestly expect it because Vendetta is so strong right now. It's ridiculous. Like, you can do diabolical things on that character. And USF going to be banning Brig on Ilios. I can understand it if you want to run if you're expecting this enemy team to be running like a Winston comp. You typically see Winston on Ilios, as it is kind of the preferred map for most of the Korean teams to be running Winston on Ilios. But I'm interested to see if we see that. We don't really see a lot of collegiate teams that can play solid Winston.
Yeah, I mean, Winston's kind of a tough character to balance. It's not just being good at Winston, it's balancing your team and being able to play with a dive that's, your front line, basically. It's difficult.
That is the hardest part of playing dive comps in this game, and why you see in the Korean brackets those teams preferring it, because they can play and execute so perfectly. And what am I looking at? No, I understand it. I understand it. This is pretty solid. USF walking out, going to be starting on the Hazard as expected. Shadow over on the Alari, a staple pick of his. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out for them. Actually swapping over to the Wu Ying, over more towards meta picks. Kiriko, Wu Ying, pretty standard. Saw a whole lot of that last semester. And Jacaranda over on the Genji, following up with the Hazard. On the side of Stony Brook, though, we have Wrecking Ball, super strong on this map. With a little bit of a split, though. You have the Juno and the Cast playing off together, and then there's the Tracer to follow up with the Ball.
Yeah, this is a very fast comp. A lot of mobility going on in this game. I mean, Wrecking Ball's already dived in here.
Both teams going to be playing, just trying to get a little bit of the setup, but Stony Brook has a little bit more ability on this with the Ball as opposed to the Hazard. So it's going to be more on USF trying to set up and just walk into the face of Stony Brook, especially with the Cast. That's going to be a very prime dive target for USF.
Yeah, here we go. A lot of action going on here. Tank versus tank. Asura getting the kill.
That's going to be the Ball found out super early, and Kiriko getting trapped as well because he used Teleport to get in on her Ball, but there it is back on the cooldown. Source going to take out the Tracer on the Sombra. Normally you don't see that in this matchup. Normally the Tracer is tormenting the Sombra, and the Cast going to get found as well with the dive. Kiriko once again just TP on cooldown immediately. Dumb ability.
Oh, Kiriko stuck in very awkward position. Sombra pulling out another hack here.
Whole lot of poke coming out. Stony Brook swapping over to the Sigma. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that into this Hazard comp. Hazard can kind of just run it down. You bait the rocket, and the rest of your team just collapses on him really hard. But Stony Brook trying to get a little bit of pressure, but the Juno probably going to get found out here. Just going to get walled away, and Rework finds a kill onto the Tracer.
Yeah, big kill from Rework. Getting rid of that pesky Tracer early into this fight is a big win.
Yeah, and I don't really see the... I kind of see the vision of the Tracer right now, but most of USF's comp is... There's no one to really go on as Tracer besides just tormenting the Sombra, and so far that hasn't found a lot of value.
Yeah, in this comp specifically, I'm not sure that it works out very well, just because of the mobility that South Florida has in their comp at the moment.
And, like, there's always the goal of having... Like, Tracer's always good. Pretty much, like, you can always find value on Tracer, but with the Sigma, though. It's not very good, and Rework getting a kill over onto the enemy Juno. USF just kind of piecing up Stony Brook right now, but Chakarana taking a right click to the face from the cast. That's what he's there for, is to stop that dive, and does it beautifully.
Yeah, for a moment there, we saw the Sombra getting tortured by the Tracer, and the Tracer does find him out.
That's what Tracer is there for. Your team manages to get someone low, and the Tracer can just blink in and finish the kill, but that's going to be a little bit of a miscommunication on that Wu Yang ult as he uses jump. I don't believe he got any stuns out of that, but Reaver going to get taken out by the Sigma. Sigma's going to pop ult. Interesting. We're also going to pop Castle into the Hazard. Seems like a little bit of an overinvestment, but Stony Brook probably going to get the point here as USF is taken down.
USF does get taken down. That was overall a little bit of a miss on the Wu Yang ult. A little unfortunate because that could have been big.
And Shadow, unfortunately, going to get staggered out there by the Juno Turbo running in to finish that kill. Jacaranda not going to turn to try to get the refrag, but this is pretty okay for USF. Coming to this next fight, they have EMP and Blade and points at 92. That's pretty much a guaranteed type fight. When we see Source setting up for it off the right, that's jump. Here comes Ray out of Stony Brook. USF just wants to hold this fight, but Oscar is going to get found out.
Oscar got stuck in a bad position there, combined with the Juno beam. It's just, you know, too easy.
Just not much you can do against that with the damage boost from the Ray, but USF are just going to chill. So, but Jacaranda gets found out. He's overstayed his welcome and gets ran down by the Sigma. But the Juno playing a little bit aggro there. I'm impressed that they walked away with that for Scott free, but Source might get found out here. Hazard forced to use the wall as USF trying to set up, waiting on the translocator. Oh, not going to have it to engage, but USF probably about to set up, maybe dropping the EMP, but Stony Brook reading it, walking away, but the Sigma's in the front by himself.
Sigma playing a little bit out of position, but I'm surprised at how well he's surviving against this comp.
USF, yeah, doing a very good job of living, but USF just really aren't being very aggressive on the engage. There's finally the EMP, and the Blade finds one, though, as Source gets traded back out. That's not really the fight that USF was looking for. Sigma already has ult again, and he's going to find two! That Shadow and Source both taken out. Stony Brook staying in this fight as USF are just hesitant to take the fights.
Sora taken out there as well, and we might see Rework out as well. Source getting a kill on Juno.
That's going to be a really big kill on the Juno if his team can respawn, get in, drop the Kitsune as fast as possible, but Juno with the ring is going to come back so fast. Shadow and Hazard both coming up with ultimates. Going to be a big fight coming up, but Stony Brook going to have Kitsune to match very shortly.
Yeah, very, very shortly. There goes the Kitsune.
There's the Kitsune out of South Florida. Sigma's in the corner. USF should be collapsing on enemy, should die, but Jacaranda is taken out. The Sigma somehow is still alive. Oscar on 1 HP. There's the Wu Yang ult to save him. Sigma not going to get stunned by the Hazard ult. Going to get knocked down. USF should be collapsing on him, but Shadow and Reworker both dead. Source finds the opposing Ashe, but his tank is down, and there is nothing he's going to be able to do. First point to Stony Brook.
Stony Brook takes this first point here, and yeah, I mean, that was a constant action game. There was no downtime.
That right there is the Hazard comp, just always wanting to be in your face, trying to get those setups, trying to get in whenever you have an advantage. But USF just playing a little bit hesitant. Whenever they had that EMP and that Blade, all they need is one good setup, catch the backline with the EMP, and then just turbo int. And you can get those kills and collapse, but they were just a little bit hesitant, a little bit quick on the draw, and then Source dropping the EMP maybe a little bit of an inopportune time, not really catching anybody.
Yeah, I mean, 3 were hit by the EMP, but it was just really out of position for everyone to play with.
All of Stony, they could easily just kite back, hide on the corners, and the only kill that they managed to get was Torbjorn, which it's not really what you're aiming for.
Not much mobility anyhow, so it doesn't really indicate a very effective ult.
The only thing it really affects there is just the overload, but not going to be using it. And Hauser also taking the space on this lighthouse. An improvement we've already seen from the last semester. USF had issues with that last semester playing space on this lighthouse like you want to on this point. This is very solid, very good already. Controlling the space into the Sigma, which I think is going to be an interesting choice for this point, but they're still going to find a kill onto Rework, giving them an early advantage, but a trade over onto the cast. Maybe on the Kiriko if Jacaranda can finish, but that's the kid going to get the kill, walking into the spiky wall, and it's all USF right now.
USF locked in for this point, but Jacaranda got taken out by the turret at the last second. Oh, no. Source takes out the Sigma, which is a big pick.
That's going to be huge. A little bit scrappy towards the end there, but USF going to clean up the fight pretty solidly. I expect to see a tank swap out of Stony Brook. I don't really understand the Sigma pick for this point, especially into Echo Echo Genji, it's not really opportune for you. You're kind of playing around your
Yeah.
Cass.
I think it's, you know, USF is able to take up a lot of space here and get really up in there while not getting punished too much for it. Speaking of, Jacaranda taken out again by the turret. But, you know, Sigma has the survivability, but doesn't really gain much space.
He's kind of just sitting there like, his goal is kind of just to aura farm and let his DPS cook, and that's what's happening. Flevy? The Stony Brook's cast player is just being diabolical with it right now, finding all the picks they need. But here's actually where those perks that we talked about coming into play earlier. Sigma with the float perk actually able to contest this high ground, which normally he's not able to do. That I understand it now. That's how this comp is working.
Seems like that's going to be their space play as far as the tank goes.
Normally, ooh, good rock coming out of Source. Maybe he's a tank player. Okay. Maybe going to get to live. The castle potentially taking him out, but going to live. Kitsune coming out. Nice shield coming out to block it. Source, the new tank player for USF Gold. Going to get ult shortly. Going to try to catch the cast. Going to succeed and get the kill somehow. Oh,
wow.
That right there is the joys of Echo. And Juno going to find a kill onto the Asura?
Wow. Okay, yeah, sure. No, the best thing about Echo is that if you're a flex player, it just feels right at home for you to pick whoever you want to.
It's so much fun being like, oh yes, I am the DPS, but we're invested in Kitsune without our tank. Interesting play by USF. Sigma just going to be able to walk away, but Hauser is here. But does the right, that's going to cash out Asura immediately. The Hazard is getting disintegrated, and USF going to have to back out, but they still have point control.
Yeah, point control is big here, but Stony Brook is taking it over, you know, 35 to 68.
Jacaranda just trying to find any exit frags, not quite going to get anything. A Source might get ran down here as the Sigma already on the high ground. The rotates are insane with that flying perk. He can get around so fast. Asura maybe jumping the gun a little bit, getting a little bit testy with his team not quite set up to try to contest. They need to get the Sig off this high ground, force out the grass so that they can pin him down, or just run in with a blade and take out the back line.
Yeah, Sig with this float perk is really strong. I mean, it's taken him from very immobile and kind of a weird pick to, I mean, really obvious move, you know?
And here's that blade. Again, we're talking about going to find two. The Hazard ult invested as well. USF using everything right now. Going to put them in a little bit of bad ult rotation, but they are going to have the Echo ults are already online for the next fight. But Stony Brook, well, they really don't have much to match. It's just a Castle and a Torbjorn ult. Torbjorn ult going to be really nice to try to contest the point, flip it early, but the Castle kind of just zoning. It's a zoning ultimate.
Yeah, it truly is just a zoning ultimate at this point. It's nothing more than, oh no, he's talking. I'm so scared right now.
Thanks for telling me the time, buddy. I know it's high noon somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, somewhere in the world. Another fight on this high ground here.
This flank on the Echo flank is diabolical, taking out the Juno early, and that's going to be a lot of ray charge taken out. But there's going to be the Torbjorn ult trying to get the flip, but USF not going to allow it. Soars once again over onto the Sigma, just trying to push him off, not let them flip. But the Castle going to take him out, going to get taken out by the beam shortly, most likely. Yep, there's the finish. But we're investing Kitsune in a 4v2. Interesting, and we're investing Sigma ult as well. This is a little bit scrappy out of both teams.
Truly just they're ulting, so I'm ulting kind of move. But USF taking back the point here, putting it into overtime. Tracer trying to contest, but might not be able to.
Not going to be able to get the final touch, pinned away by Source and Jacaranda, keeping the Tracer off the point. But I understand a little bit the plays out of Stony Brook with the ults. They just got him. It's 99% of the enemy team. You kind of have to fight it. But it's still just really scrappy coming out. A lot of interestingly timed fights out of both teams.
Yeah, a lot of interesting timing here. We're seeing Stony Brook switch off of that Sigma and onto D.Va. So, a little bit more dive.
This is a little bit more what I expected on this map. You have the D.Va instead of the Winston, trying to match the power of the Irishman, the Scotsman, whose name I can't remember. Oh my lord! Oh my lord! I think I just had a stroke. Yes, Hazard.
Asura just made you forget.
Yep, he made me forget. But and then we're gonna have an Ana coming out of Stony Brook, also to be expected on this map, on this point in particular. You love to play Ana Brig on this point with a Winston, but no Winston, so gonna stick over on the Kiriko. D.Va already taking the high ground. Hazard wrapping the match, and Source on a really good angle here, taking the poke. They're just going to be able to find the Ana, but that's every support cooldown used early. But USF is happy about that, except that Asura got disintegrated on the side.
Yeah, unlucky for Asura getting immediately beamed to... Oh, and Jacaranda out as well. Ooh,
Both
Okay.
Echoes kind of putting out some amazing pressure right now, both getting in very important kills from the teams, but Source going to manage to find out Theta and not really give the team an advantage, but keep them off their back. Stony Brook already has the point USF need to contest.
Yeah, they really need to get on here and get their hands dirty. They start going in. Kiriko uses the teleport to get out.
That's a really good engage by USF as D.Va used boosters, but they're not quite going to get the flip as Source wasn't able to finish up on that damage from his Hazard, but Stony Brook step up the point and give the flip to USF. USF just going to be wanting to play slow. They can into the D.Va, but they just have to survive.
Yeah, slow and steady may win this race for right now.
I believe Kitsune also just got dropped. It could have been Suzu with the speed boost perk, but also we're just going to get disintegrated by the Echo Beam, but not going to get taken out. The Anti is going to finish it. That is what the Ana is here for on this point. And Stony Brook going to get a pretty early flip, feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, basically a team wipe other than Shadow. Big retake for Stony Brook pretty early into this game.
And a little bit of the problem coming up for this next fight, Stony Brook have a very solid ult bank already built, while South Florida's a little bit behind. So Stony Brook are gonna want to play first in this fight, play really early, try to maybe nano Kitsune, something just to go in fast, trying to prevent USF from building up. There's a nano on the D.Va running into the backline, going to maybe find Source, not quite 1 HP, his backline keeping alive. How Osra is staying alive somehow through all of this.
Don't even know how he's still alive here.
Absolutely mental. Source just getting ran down by the D.Va, going to copy, trying to run in, find the Kiriko. Hazard ult coming out. Somehow the Kiriko still. This Kiriko lives! What is this game?
How does Kiriko live there? We are not too sure.
Who approved this character in Blizzard HQ? There he goes. The Kiriko finally taken out. USF getting a little bit of momentum.
Only took 2 tanks.
It only took 2 tanks, 4 ults at point blank range while she can't move.
You know, she's magical like that. Ana's kind of stuck out in a bad position here from the Asura's wall.
Just trying to delay, get as much time as possible on the point. Stony Brook at 89%, USF only 20, and they invested a lot in that fight. They're going to be playing into almost another nano. Heart 22 on the Ana, putting in some work. It's only been maybe 20 seconds.
South Florida does have 2 ults ready, the Wu Yang and the Genji ult. I mean, those are 2 that can be combined pretty well, but we're just going to have to see how they play this. D.Va's already back.
There's the Blade. Wu Yang ult gonna get popped a little bit late, but Ana found out pretty early. The only issue with this is that USF have to invest this just to win this fight and keep the timer ticking. Stony Brook only have to win 1 fight, so USF rework going to have to get the Kitsune rather quick to match Max on the side of Stony Brook just so that they can have an even fight.
Yeah, a lot of effort to put in for USF to get the same foothold that Stony Brook has here.
And there's the Kitsune coming out early from Max. Rework doesn't have it to match. Source going to get found early. That is exactly what Stony Brook wanted, but Jacaranda trying to find the enemy Echo. Rework dropping Kitsune as well in the match, but also we're going to get found out, and this is going to be the early flip for Stony Brook, and Jacaranda needs to get out, needs to try to find, or at least maybe get a trade. Not going to find the Kiriko, the teleport ability.
Oh. Well, no, he does find the Kiriko after all of that shuffle.
Going to find it in the end. That is exactly what they wanted. They can come back. They can regain. But Rework and Source are both dead. Also, we're going to have to drop the ult. Not going to find anything. D.Va 1 HP. Jacaranda trying to kill, but they have Bomb. Going to be coming back in the mech. Can they get the kill, though? 1 HP and he misses the shots, and that is the D.Va back in mech and going to be able to take out the rest of USF to win Ilios for Stony Brook.
Yep, Stony Brook takes map 1 here.
Absolutely mental games coming out of both teams. Complete chaos and a couple of insane moments there. But both teams showing up and playing very well so far. This has been very enjoyable to see, and I'm excited for the maps coming up after this.
Yeah, this has been really crazy, really entertaining. A lot of things we didn't expect to see. So stay tuned for a little bit more, and we're going to go to a quick break.
be something new, a better part of you. You feel it.
Welcome back, everybody. Taking it to Suravasa, enjoying the sights. I am ready for this. I love this map. I am so happy to see it in the pool.
I am so glad you can compensate for the joy of this map because I don't like it. But I do love watching it because as long as I'm not playing it, I'm okay.
That's very understandable. And South Florida, we are throwing it back to an old comp. That was 2 semesters ago, running Juno Brig and the Ramatra coming out of Osira. That's to be expected. Stony Brook gonna also be running Juno Brig, so I guess I am out of touch on the meta then. If Juno Brig is back in rotation, but Stony Brook gonna be opting for the Sojourn and the Diva, playing a little bit more split than USF will be.
Yeah, Stony Brook has a little bit of a difference in where they might be playing. Diva already on site here.
So Ram just going to be wanting to aura farm a little bit, trying to play split the team and just be in people's faces. But the Diva going to be setting up with their Genji, trying to play off the damage coming out of their Sojourn. But Diva already getting found out with a really nice hack out of Source, going to be forced out. That is the boosters just rotating over to the other high ground as Stony Brook playing this really interestingly with everybody just sitting on height.
Yeah, really interesting choices from Stony Brook here. But overall, Ramatra aura farming once again on site, pushing everyone off. Fleth getting the kill on Jacaranda very early into this fight.
Osira not managing to finish the kills, and they're going to find the Brig, though, as they ran back into their phase. We were going to get traded in return, and the Juno lives, but Source is all in there, going to find the kill. USF have the advantage, but they're not on the point, so Stony Brook going to get an early flip.
Yeah, pretty early flip there, just as you said. USF playing way off. Shadow getting taken out by Fleth as well. It's down a support for USF.
Down a support, but they are going to find all of the kills they need. Gonna miss the virus, not quite gonna finish up on it, but the Diva is taken out and the early flip. Gonna get traded out by the Brig. The Brig being diabolical, doing disgusting things to Source this game. If we remember seeing in that first engage getting hit out of invis and almost getting one-shot comboed over on the bridge. Max on the Brig doing diabolical things.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, honestly. I feel like Brig has a capacity to get rid of a lot of really annoying flanks as long as she's around.
Brig is such a good anti-dive, anti-flank character, but Source not really going to find anything there on the enemy Sojourn, but Jacaranda going to find it in the end. Ramatra all getting invested, trying to finish up anything, but that's Rally? Little bit questionable decision. You're not surviving the Ramatra at point blank range, but they're fighting on the point. Diva going to get found out, but that's the bomb. Going to get hacked.
So worth it for the hack, but unfortunately she does get that ult and gets back in mech here.
That was the most unfortunate thing I've ever seen because him footstooling the Diva is what left him in range of the bomb and killed him.
Tried to Goomba Stomp, did not get it. Jacaranda taken out by the Diva.
That's going to be tragic, but throughout all of this, USF has maintained control. Diva also out of mech already, and Rally Pop. Sojourn ult might get EMP'd here, but Source is getting ran down. They're going to be wanting to find if they know he has EMP. The Blade coming out of Theta, going to find Rework, potentially going to find Source. Shadow also taking Ultra down as well. Stony Brook investing a lot to flip this point and keep them in this first point.
Lot of support behind that Blade, and it seems to be effective. I mean, everyone's pushed off from USF, but USF coming up on some ults as well. The Juno ult coming in soon enough. Jacaranda's not too far off, and Source has that EMP ready to go.
Theoretically, with a Juno Brig backline, USF should just be able to EMP them and run them over, especially with Ramatra. Like, there's literally nothing that backline can do without utility.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out here as we push in some new gameplay about to come up here.
Diva trying to get forced out. There's the Ray dropping out. USF just trying to fight the point, but Sojourn on this left angle. Source set up to get EMP'd. If he gets taken out here by the backline, that is detrimental, but he's going to live. That's Diva hacked, potentially going to drop to the mech if Ram ints on this, and he is, but the Diva not going to get found out. Genji maybe, though. But
Genji survives for a little bit longer.
Genji getting a little bit low, but the Diva taking a mech. That's the EMP coming out, and USF going to secure this first point pretty handily, though Stony Brook had it at 99, I'm now realizing.
Amazing cleanup from Source there.
Brilliant play with the EMP and running in, getting a little bit testy there, but Winston coming out of Stony Brook and swapping over to the Ana as well to match. Curious decisions for Suravasa, but it can work.
We will have to see. I mean, they are pretty good at the unconventional tank picks.
Absolutely, and I think part of the goal of this is just getting on the Brig Juno, but it's already not working out. You're just getting poked out so hard by Jacaranda and Source on the... They do a lot of damage, those characters, so just trying to turbo run in here, just trying to maintain space, but that's already half his health bar gone and the bubble, so we can't really engage off of that.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough spot for the Winston to be in there.
USF can kind of just throw the Ramatra on the point as their but the deflect!
Insane deflect from Theta, takes out Shadow on the Juno very quick. Asura gets a kill and Jacaranda gets another, but Jacaranda is traded by Theta.
Lots of kills getting dropped back and forth. There's Jacaranda executing his teammate on accident, but USF maintaining control of the point. That is the joy of the Ramatra. You can just throw him on the point and be like, go, my son, hold. But
3 ults from Stony Brook here. This could get dangerous in this next fight.
I'm expecting probably an early overclock and then maybe using... Oh, that was USF's rally. I was very confused. Oh, the Genji gonna get taken out there. A little bit of a testy engage, but both rallies getting invested. Once again, a questionable rally coming out of Max on the side of Stony Brook. Not gonna find much. Winston should get staggered here, but jump coming online very shortly, but gonna get taken out by Jacaranda to send him back to the spawn room and give USF just a little bit more time.
Really big stagger from USF there. Jacaranda, a newer player for USF Gold, but honestly very locked in and pretty good synergy so far.
Doing really well on the Soj. As I said a second ago, USF playing phenomenally. I'm very, very happy to see this. Stony Brook coming up on every support player's favorite ultimate combo, Nanoblade!
Yay, Nanoblade!
Yay!
Nanoblade.
I love playing the game. I love Nanoblade. But that's going to be the EMP disintegrating the Winston, but he lives! The anti from Heart 22 keeping the Winston alive, investing the Nanoblade as well, and Winston walks away from that at full HP while all of USF gets disintegrated at 99%.
USF backing off the point at 99% here.
USF had a very solid engage. Oh, Jacaranda gonna get staggered out there by the Genji with a nice little one-shot combo. Gonna get traded by Source. Overstaying is welcome just a little bit.
Stony Brook once again coming up on a few ults. I mean, they've got the Sojourn Overclock, they've got the Winston Primal Rage, and USF as well has the Ramatra ult and the Juno Ray ready to go.
That's the problem for Stony Brook. The ults are just in USF's favor. They can just Ray and Ramel into them with like no penalty, except for the Ana. The Ana's the only penalty, but this is gonna be Nemesis taken out. Here's gonna be the Ray, and we're gonna be expecting
instant live button.
Missing the sleep. That's going to be detrimental for Stony Brook's backline, but Asura gets taken out, traded somehow a little bit too deep. Team not walking with him, and Stony Brook can just sit with their Winston on the point unless Jacaranda can make some moves building ult very shortly.
Yeah, we will just have to see. Rework had a lot in there, but Jacaranda gets taken out as well, not able to get that ult all tied up.
USF going to have one more fight. Jacaranda 7% off of the overclock. Going to have to get it ASAP. Rocky to match Stony Brook Soj. That is going to be USF's play here, but the Torber doing so much damage to Asura. He's going to have to do something, but he's potentially getting staggered here. Going to get taken out so early. Rally Pop to keep it alive. He's 1 HP, and both of USF's DPS are taken out. Gets a trade back onto Max, but USF pieced apart and destroyed by Stony Brook, evening up this 1-1 game.
Insane 3-piece from Fleth on the team Stony Brook. That Sojourn play is just crazy. The Sojourns in this game have been crazy.
That's exactly what I expected to see with the early Soj ult coming out of Stony Brook. USF not really having any of the match, but Asura a little bit early on that engage. They're getting found out super early around that corner. Playing a little bit of SBU. Winston trying to set up to engage, waiting for a Torbjorn headshot potentially, but USF anchoring on the point. Shadow a little bit low there, not going to get found out as Source scouting. Going to find a kill on the Ana. That's going to be amazing for them, but USF's backline is traded for it. Oh,
is it worth
no.
the trade if you lose both your supports? Jacaranda taken out too in a Sojourn 1v1.
Going to find all kinds of trades, but at the end of the day, Stony Brook's tank survives, and that's all they need to anchor the point. The Nano going to get invested onto the Winston, and that is what disintegrated the Juno Brig.
Yeah, pretty easy to disintegrate the backline when there's just that much going on. Fleth getting a pick on Source very early, very staggered.
That's going to be detrimental. Source is their engage option. The Sombra with the hacks is who you want on hand at all times to be ready to just collapse on somebody, especially with EMP online. Yeah. So USF just going to have to sit down, wait, and give a little bit more time to Stony Brook. But Source in an amazing position. Gonna get found out and maybe taken. Not quite. The Winston 1 HP though, potentially gonna get EMP. Nope, that's the ult hacked and just ran away. And USF collapsing now, trying to find the backline of Stony Brook, but that's so much utility to keep it alive. And also, maybe gonna get shredded here. Not antied and might live.
Might just live, might just not. We're just gonna have to see Astra taken out by the Wu Yang.
Not going to invest the Ramatra ult. Pretty smart of a decision as your backline is getting ran down by the Winston, but that's going to be a little painful for USF. The Winston gets taken out by Jacaranda? USF playing super fast into this. They need to get to the point right now. 93%, 94. Can they touch the point before it ticks? I don't. Wait, they can. Source is on deck. Not going to get the overtime proc, but not going to drop the EMP. Ozora, can he touch it? No, he cannot. And that's going to be the point to Stony Brook.
Really unfortunate. I worry that even if they got on, Theta on Torbjorn is going to pop ult and just kind of take up that space once again.
Absolutely. They didn't really have any good counterplay to that, and just a couple seconds too late. Shadow going to get staggered out by the Winston, resetting to go back. Jacaranda almost finding a kill onto the Sojourn, maybe going to get dove by the Winston, but Brig is there to support. Getting Max jumping off the map to reset, and Jacaranda going to get taken out, playing a little bit early. Same with Flat. Source gonna find the kill on there, and that's the Torbjorn ult.
Getting that space there with that ult.
Yeah, just gonna get thrown out just to secure the early cap for Stony Brook. They have the tempo, they have the kills, they're happy to do this, but Asura gonna run. Oh, he has his Juno. That's the EMP invested as well, so that's gonna be an early. Oh, Stony Brook never capped. That's gonna be huge for USF.
A big retake for USF here.
Asura playing a little bit testy, anti to 200 HP, running into a Torbjorn, but still going to live, still has 30 HP, hiding around the corner, going to live, and Jacaranda not quite going to get the finish up on the Soj.
Thankfully, Asura stays alive there. I don't even know. That was some magic, honestly.
That was some magic indeed. 30 HP.
30
With that big of a
HP
hitbox,
tree.
trying to hide behind a corner. It's the image of the guy hiding behind a really skinny tree.
Yep.
Oh, Sojourn on the off angle, almost finding Shadow. USF just backing out as the Nano Winston coming out. Jacaranda 20 HP manages to walk away alive. The Winston not diving, still with the overclock, going to get dropped around the corner by Fleth, and it's a scrappy fight.
This is scrappy and messy, and all of it's on site. A lot going on. Winston trying to retake the site and make some space for Stony Brook to push in, but it's not. I mean, it's actually now going well.
There's even more ult invested, but USF are still just camping on the point, buying as much time as possible, exhausting Stony Brook's entire ult bank, and USF are still in this fight, except that Shadow and Asura just got taken out. I stand corrected.
It's moving so fast, our comms aren't too accurate.
That's still a pretty solid fight for USF. They managed to pretty much continuously fight from 20 to 97%, and they still have EMP, they have Ray, they have Ramatra ult coming up, and Stony Brook, all they have is Torbolt. And that's not a lot in the grand scheme, especially if you get EMP'd and disintegrated early, because USF should know that the Torbjorn is coming online.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Torbjorn can create space, if they've already got the space and they're losing it, it's not going to do nearly as much as it could.
Exactly, and there's the EMP. Here's the rate. A little bit of a questionable EMP, but it forces the Wing into a little bit of a bad position, giving USF the space they need to just walk onto the point, cap, and try to get the 3% more that they need as the Ramatra ult coming online. Winston re-engaging 1 HP, going to get taken out, and this should be a clean up for USF.
USF with the retake, very clean. They get the point here, and this puts them at match point. 2-2.
They're going to be pretty happy coming into the beginning of this next fight with the Ramatra ult. The only issue is that when you engage with that Ramatra ult, you know what that Ana's going to do with Nano? Throw it straight on the Winston.
Absolutely. Jacaranda almost with the Sojourn overclock online as well, so this could be a really big combination. We're just going to have to see how they take site here.
Potentially with the combination of the Pharah and the overclock, maybe try to get a nice little clean setup on the Ana. Ideally trying to get the Nano out of rotation as early as you can, but USF just pinning the Winston. Now that's you're gonna have to engage the Nano, but Jacaranda gets disintegrated. The Winston gets traded back in return, but I don't think I've ever seen a Sojourn run that fast. Torbjorn ult getting invested? Little bit questionable play. USF have the cap. Shadow gets found out, but Rework gets a trade back onto the enemy Sojourn, and just a little bit scrappy from both sides.
So, Sojourn. Torbjorn ult getting popped sheerly out of desperation here.
Yeah, not gonna find the value that they wanted, and little interesting turret, gonna get taken out early. That's Winston already throwing in all of his utility, just gonna get disintegrated. You can't play like that when your backline is so far back, especially into a Sojourn Pharah.
Yeah, Winston on cooldowns there is just not a good move as soon as you dive in, especially without your team up with you. It's just why, honestly.
Absolutely. And Winston is a very large character, and Fire Rockets have a very large hitbox, and they do a lot of damage.
Absolutely. As direct hits, yeah.
Have overclock.
What?
Never mind. There's no longer an overclock online for
There
South
is
Florida.
no overclock in Ba Sing Se.
But Rally going to get popped by South Florida, trying to keep them in, try to win this fight. But Primal getting popped, Source trying to find anything from behind, probably going to get taken out by this Ana here, just disintegrated. Nothing really you can do into that. Playing a little bit testy, just trying to burn point, and that's going to be, I'd say 90. No, they get a full 99 for this, so they're happy. They're happy.
Yeah, great stall from Asura there. It does stagger him a little bit, but overall, I mean, they get to 99, which is kind of a little bit more of a win.
USF should be feeling pretty happy about that. Oh, Source gonna get disintegrated there by the enemy Sojourn, but they're still feeling pretty good about this. They have the Soj ult, they're coming up on the Pharah ult, and that Pharah ult, you know exactly where it's probably gonna be?
The backline.
Oh, I was gonna say Winton.
Oh, Winton too. Winton a big target.
Winton engage, Winton drop bubble, Winton get blown up by a missile.
Yeah, if Winton uses all those cooldowns, I got really used to saying Winton there.
Winton.
If Winston uses all those cooldowns right in the front there, I mean, it's so easy to just melt
He
him.
just gets disintegrated, and Overclock not gonna get invested, but Stony Brook have a lot of ults to match. There's the Nano. Oh, Nano OC actually not gonna Nano the Winston, just trying to make space with the engage though. Going to find Source, that's going to be very big for Stony Brook. And Shadow. USF just going to have to back off not winning this fight.
A lot of ults dumped into that fight, and it's proving effective, honestly. Stony Brook taking out a lot of USF there.
Now, this presents a problem. If Source dies here, that is absolutely horrendous for USF, and Stony Brook know that. Go ahead and rotate, but Source walking away at 29 HP. No, he's going to get taken out, and that is the doom for USF. I was about to say unless Jacaranda pulls out something insane, but just going to get dropped.
What an insane game. A lot of back and forth right up to the last second there.
All kinds of chaos, and once again, just a little bit of just questionable engage timing out of USF. They had the opportunity for that final point, but people setting up, rotating not quite on the timers they needed to be, and going to get punished for it by Stony Brook. Just beautiful play out of both teams, but Stony Brook barely managing to pull out on top.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to game 3 here. What are you expecting to see in this next game?
Let me see. We've already ran Control and Flashpoint. Probably going to be taking it. Probably Hybrid. Everybody likes Hybrid.
Hard to hate.
It's hard to hate. We have Scrims Row in the Hybrid map pool. Everybody loves Scrims Row. Everybody loves playing Scrims Row every single map. Kings Row.
Okay.
Because you start off every single scrim in existence by playing Kings Row.
That checks out. That checks out. It's been in the game for a long time.
Oh, yeah. No way. I predicted it. Seems like we're going to be taking it to Kings Row unless somebody randomly decides to pick a different map. But it's Scrims Row. It's the curse.
Well, now it's also NACE UN10N's row.
NACE UN10N's row. If you're a collegiate Overwatch player, you know the wonderful joy and pain of playing Kings Row every single week.
Yeah, do you know? You better know, apparently. Apparently everyone knows.
And we're going to be running it back in a little bit after we let the players sort out their bans and get everything sorted. We will be back after a short break.
In your soul, a leap from head to toe. I'll go just alone. I can't stop scratching my mind. I gotta keep asking why. Stop telling me all the time everything will be fine.
We're back on Kings Row. Source on the Bastion. If I see that character walk out of spawn, I'm going to laugh.
Well, yeah, Asura's switching over to the Zarya.
You know,
Shadow over on the Lucio. What are we thinking?
I think we're seeing some Bastion, some riveting Bastion gameplay. I can understand. Actually, back over to the D.Va. Honestly, I kind of would have preferred the Zarya. She's not the greatest tank in the game right now, but you can put in some evil work with just bubbling your Genji.
Yeah, honestly, Genji benefits from this Zarya switch, honestly, very well.
You can just bubble the Genji, let him go cook, come back out, lives for free. And Stony Brook, back on the Sigma comp they were playing earlier with the Ashe, with the Echo, Ana and Brig. Going to be a very tough line to crack, but that's what the Genji is going to be trying to do.
Yeah, in goes the Genji a little bit, kind of floating around, countering an Echo a little bit here.
Just trying to find any good target to collapse on. Wow. The Bastion is a little bit of a select choice and just going to be taken out immediately by the Ashe. That's part of the problem with playing Bastion. There's zero mobility, zero survivability. You're just kind of a big target to get shot. But Asura already 90 charge, feeling pretty good on the Zarya, but they have to try to find any opening on the back line of Stony Brook.
Yeah, speaking of charges here, Stony Brook Heart 22 on Ana, already at 60% on the ult.
That's ridiculous. That nano is going to be diabolical for keeping the Sigma alive. Speaking of that, Sigma have HP, but so is Asura when he gets disintegrated by the Echo. USF going to have to maybe switch up the plan a little bit. Not really have much ult charge in the bank besides rework on the Kiriko.
Yeah, definitely think it might be time to switch up. Source already switching to that Pharah, trying to get a little bit more mobility in here, a little bit more damage onto the Sig.
That's probably going to be beneficial, but playing into that Ashe, the Ashe was hitting some nasty shots.
Yeah.
And now the big issue with this comp is the Zarya doesn't really fit, especially with no speed. There's no way to get your Zarya like in there once they have charge. You have to play really slow in the early game. That's just going to be Kazuni just running it down. The only problem is Zarya doesn't really benefit from that. But Sig's still going to get taken out. Rework 1 HP. Source trying to find the backline right now, but the Brig managing to live through Brig magic. And USF looking to cap right here, but Rework taken out. That's going to be big for Stony Brook stalling.
Yeah, big stalls from Stony Brook here. South Florida still on the point, taking it slowly but surely with the Zarya. Everyone's kind of pushed off into these hallways.
Stony Brook should be set up to contest the third. Potentially, they have players on deck, but I don't think they're going to touch. Yeah, Source keeping him off the point. Sleep missed, but USF walks off the point. We have to remember the objective exists. Source
Are we
is taken
C9ing
out.
here?
No, not quite. And they they managed to get the cap. We forgot objective existed for a second, but it's okay.
Everything's cool.
Everything is okay.
Surely, surely. USF 2 ults online here. Asura coming up on that grab very soon.
Grav Barrage is going to be evil. The only issue is Sigma's entire kit kind of just goes, whenever you try to do that. So we'll see how that combo goes.
That is true. Sigma also with the ult ready, and Stony Brook Fleth with the Ashe has Bob ready as well.
I'm interested to see what that Bob is going to be used for. There's not, honestly, a lot, but if this Ashe gets taken out early, well, all support util getting thrown in. There's going to be Wu Yang ult, just trying to get the Sigma. Sigma should get disintegrated here, but the Ana on the opposing team doing absolute work. Going to get taken out by the Pharah ult, but that's a Sigma, that's a 1-for-2 trade. USF might not be feeling very good about this, but they still have Zarya, and Zarya is an entire DPS line by herself, but Echo does a lot to Zarya, so we'll see if USF can keep this up.
Can USF keep up? They are pushing the payload forward slowly but surely.
Ana taking a little headshot there, I believe, from Jacaranda. Going to be really big, forcing them back. But Fleth on the Ashe, 1 HP, trying to run away. There's the Winston, there's the counter, but going to get immediately caught by the grab. But also going to barely live. Copy on the Zarya, probably going to be getting grabbed super fast. But Source taken out by the Ashe. Nano on the Winston to get tempo back in Stony Brook's favor.
Jacaranda has ult ready. 2 taken out on the side of USF.
Oh, that was such a nice dynamite for all that ult charge, but he already had ult. And then Theta coming out with a big quadra kill over on South Florida.
Asura switching over to the D.Va here.
Just going to be trying to change up the tempo a little bit. They had the Winston coming out, a pretty solid counter into the Zarya, but D.Va going to be pretty good to match. But the Winston playing a little bit aggressive here as your Ashe is getting poked out. Half HP, going to have to walk away. USF with ults coming online to match the Brig ult for Stony Brook.
Kitsune is online for rework. We're going to have to see how they push in with this. Do they use it at this choke? It's likely. Here it goes.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Bob thrown out as well. Maybe on a little bit of a weird angle, but enemy Ashe is going to be taken out. That's one. That's what you want. And you forced the Brig ult. That's going to be massive. And Ana playing a little bit far forward. Maybe going to get found out by Osira on the D.Va, but he backs away.
Yeah, big to force out a support ult, especially with such a strong one with Rally. It really allows for a lot of durability on the Brig. But they've pretty much pushed it up to the next checkpoint here. Contesting now is the Winston.
And there's going to be Winston just destroyed by the Far Rockets. And Theta was on a solid flank on the Echo, but not going to find anything as USF just stacking on this card to try to commit the cap. 3 minutes on the clock to cap third.
3 minutes is a lot of time, but it could be down to the last second, just like the last couple games have been.
That is true, but that early kill on the Ana and finding the Ashe as well, that's detrimental for Stony Brook. USF can just kind of continue to spam these corners and just let Shadow sit on the point. Theta over on the Widowmaker for third point. Little bit interesting, especially when you're playing into the Far Rockets. Like you're
Little risky, yeah.
You're just gonna get spammed out in the corners and just get live pinged constantly. That's really something I would only expect to see on like first point, but I guess it's
for sure.
Try to match the Ashe, but I don't think that's gonna go well with it, even the Pharah in your face.
I truly think the best way to match an Ashe is just playing Ashe in a 1v1.
You literally just play Ashe or you just dive. Winston already low, even in Primal. Source going to taken out by the Ashe, Speak of the Devil, and Brig caught in place in Jacarana's Bob, finding the enemy Ashe, and then managing to find Max as well on the Brig. But okay, never mind. I should never said anything about the Widow. There goes Shadow with a nice headshot.
Yeah, D.Va ult is online for Asura.
Interesting choice of Bob, but Stony Brook actually just backed off the point. Bob coming out from Stony Brook, going to find out Jacaranda, and USF just have to back off. But Widow going to get taken out with ult by Source as he gets traded out by the Bob.
Widowmaker ult did go online for a second there.
Maybe swapping now? He's gotten some solid value. I was actually incredibly impressed.
Yeah, that was surprising, pleasantly surprising.
Theta was managing to put in some work on these like kind of decently close angles, but Source already decently low. Gonna have to a little bit of help, a little bit of top up there from Shadow as USF trying to stage. They have both support ults and Pharah ult online, but there goes Jacaranda the Widow again. That's what we predicted. Are we gonna solo ult the Ashe? No. Ooh, bubble though. Now we're gonna probably want to go in and barrage the Zarya. Maybe just try to get the tank out of rotation as we're counter swapping that D.Va, but USF just not finding the space.
Yeah, 2 ults online for USF to create some of that space with, but we're just gonna have to see Theta taking out another one. These gnarly snipes.
I should have never said a word. He's absolutely nasty with it, getting every pick that Stony Brook needs to just stall this out. How is the Zarya on high ground? What? But there's Source managing to find a kill onto the enemy Ashe, giving a little bit more space to breathe and a little bit less DPS pressure out of Stony Brook. But I stand corrected. Theta's actually Himothy, because there goes Source.
Insane stalling on this last point. 41 seconds on the clock versus that 3 minutes we were so confident in.
Yeah, honest to God, this Widow is actually just putting in ridiculous levels of work for Stony Brook. Source over onto the Echo and Jacaranda mirroring the Widowmaker. I trust in
Jacaranda.
I trust in Jock, but I don't think that's the play unless the enemy Widow is playing up close, which they haven't been. They've been playing a little bit far back, but Jacaranda gonna take damage, found out, not gonna be able to sit for free. But now you're playing at so much poke, 9 seconds on the clock. Can USF make something work with no ults in the bank? Hard 22 taken out by Jacaranda. That's going to be the shot that they needed, but Osira taken out of mech, and this is probably going to be the fight unless Jacaranda can put out some absolute work on Widow, and I don't think it's going to happen as USF get held for 3 minutes by Theta on Widowmaker.
Insane hold by Stony Brook, insane Widowmaker defense. I was very pleasantly surprised. Of course, had faith in the players, but I mean, I haven't often seen that last-minute Widowmaker desperation switch like work out very well. So that was awesome. Honestly.
Normally I usually see solid Widowmaker value you get on first point usually, or right as you're coming up on capping that second point. You can get a whole lot of value from playing those long angles, but the third point like that, just trying to push around the corner
right at the end, there is usually a really tough time to switch.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you can play on the high grounds, you can play inside of the mega room. There's so many corners and angles you can come from to try to kite around the Widow that USF just weren't finding it. Or Theta was just finding ridiculous angles to just get the kills that they needed to win. And there they are walking back out on the Widowmaker, trying to cap, just trying to get the picks that they need. Probably going to be trying to find Jacaranda on the Ashe. That is what they are there to match.
Yeah, early picks here from the Widowmaker might be able to get them that first point and really push them forward.
Especially since most of USF's DPS pressure is coming out of the Ashe. The Tracer is just there to finish up kills because you're not really going to be able to do anything on a Brig. Like, you're not going to be able to get in on them and, like, one-clip somebody because it's Brig.
Absolutely. I mean, Brig's tough as nails, and Anna's going to play pretty far back, and they're just going to be, you know, partnered up in the back line. So
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot to, like, really knock them down.
They're definitely going to be pretty much untouchable. So if Jacaranda gets taken out, that's a whole lot of... That's pretty much all of USF's pressure just destroyed. Especially into the Zarya that negates Asura's existence for a lot of this fight. So USF... This is honestly a little bit of a comp diff. They're going to have some hard time playing into this. And that's already Asura getting disintegrated, but Jacaranda putting out the work that he needs to. And that's Venom Mine, but Stony Brook already almost have one tick in the first 15 seconds.
Already at the first tick here, being very scarcely contested by D.Va. Unfortunately, it's hard for Asura to counter. Jacaranda taking out the enemy Ashe.
That's going to be really beneficial to them because that also removes a lot of Stony Brook's DPS pressure. Unfortunately, Zarya exists. Oh, and Source going to get taken out by Theta as the Widow is 1 HP, but Jacaranda going to finish up the kill, giving USF a little bit of breathing room, but the point's already at 2.5 ticks. Stony Brook has been running over USF as Asura was in there pretty hard, but then Max tried to finish up on it and just gets disintegrated from behind. Oh, Asura's dead. Yep, there he goes.
Asura
That's the
maybe
start.
out there.
Wait,
Asura
the
living,
Ash 1
never
HP?
mind.
Source just got disintegrated. That was... Oh, Fleth, 1 HP. He and Source just not managing to get the little bit of damage that he needed out. Rework trying to finish up the kill as well, but that is going to be the point for Stony Brook. Beautifully played, and Jacaranda disintegrated by the Widowmaker. This is not Valorant. There is no headshot movement.
Yeah, Asura already switching over to Hazard as they get this first point and they start pushing the payload instead. A bunch of ults coming online soon for Stony Brook. The Widowmaker ult is online, which isn't, you know, super strong in itself, but does add a lot of value, especially with the Ashe on their team.
It's not inherently strong, but Theta has made it strong,
For
putting
sure.
out some beautiful work here. But Source over on this Pharah, gonna maybe be able to put in a work, but Fleth has been doing some nasty things on Ashe, so I don't know how that's gonna work. Also on the flank, just trying to find out anybody maybe gonna drop on this Ashe. Hasn't committed yet though.
Yeah, Rework with the Kitsune online, popping it almost instantly.
That's gonna be Bob as well online for USF, but Asura manages to find Heart 22. That's gonna be huge, and the rest of Stony Brook just kind of get disintegrated. Asura walking away to 45 HP there, but
Asura
manages to
lives.
live. However, Stony Brook have 5 ultimates and 4 minutes on the clock.
They have a lot of time and a lot of things to use in that time.
They have a lot of time and a lot of buttons, but Heart 22 getting a little bit testy there, swinging into the Ashe as Source is taken out as well, but that's a very happy trade, especially since Brickle just got forced out of Stony Brook. Stony Brook kind of, they're trying to press their advantage with the ults, but not finding a lot for it. The cart is just back to where they started.
Yeah, Bob getting forced out as well to try and take some space on the cart and allow them to push up.
Max on the side of Stony Brook getting taken out is really big for USF, but then Asura fed a little bit. Gonna get found out on the Hazard. Not quite able to rotate away, but Source is playing a testy game, swinging into Theta like that. They hit those shots. I would not be swinging that, but maybe gonna manage to put the Widow on an off angle you didn't see earlier. Might get one shot here as he swings the corner. We will see as the rally is popped, just trying to run in and pin that Widow down.
Yeah, the only one really playing too far up here is Zarya.
Oh, but Source putting us to work manages to find 3 Ashe, Widow, and Ana gone for Stony Brook. The rest soon to follow as USF maintain their position right in front of this second point.
USF really locking in on this past fight. 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Are they going to stall it out here, or will they possibly extend the timer?
Both teams invested a whole lot in that fight. Heart 22 swapping off the Ana over on a Baptiste, trying to get a little bit more damage over onto Source as he's been putting in work. Asura doing a little bit of a poke, a little bit of a flank, and getting them scared in their britches, but nothing found out yet for USF.
Nothing quite yet. USF does have the Hazard ult online. Pretty big, damage potential there.
Fleth 1 HP, but Asura managing to live through the power of magic. Everybody on the side of Stony Brook is 1 HP, and Asura going to find 2 with the ultimate. Maybe 3 if that Brig falls, and there goes the Zarya as well. Shadow gets taken out somehow by the enemy Brig, but it is a cleanup from USF. A little bit scary there, but they managed to clean it up.
Insane sweep from USF there after what looked like a pretty tough situation to be in with the Zarya grab getting popped.
Absolutely. Osura managing to live that was insanity, and I really don't know how.
Yeah, honestly, magical and whimsical. Amazing support from USF support. Fleth taking out Jacaranda in that Ashe 1v1. Source with the Rockets online, that ultimate.
Oh, I expected such an early engage there with the Rockets, especially when Diva just used boosters on a high ground. That is an opportune time to go in on the squishies that were sitting on cart, but USF not going to invest in the fight. What just happened to Osura? Where did his health bar go? But Source going to get disintegrated. That is the barrage used in no value. Osura 1 HP, Rework 1 HP, sitting in the Kitsune, not quite finding anything. As Stony Brook is about to cap the point, and Jacaranda taken out, and the point capped.
Insane cap from Stony Brook. Fleth really locking in on these little picks. Getting another one onto Osura.
This is not looking good for USF. 2:30 on the clock. We saw it last point, though. It can be held, but Stony Brook have a very nice ult bank coming online.
Osura switching back over to the Zarya here. Jacaranda with Bob ready, but Stony Brook has Baptiste, Window, Brig, Rally, Echo, and Ashe ults online.
Yeah, that's a big bank to fight into, especially since USF aren't playing close. They're not playing this corner because they can't contest the high ground without throwing their Echo up there and getting disintegrated by the Ashe. That's a big dynamite though. Nice, good poke damage onto the Ashe, forcing them off the high ground, giving them the space they need to get to this corner. But here come the Bobs. Which Bob is better?
The Bob wars continue here. Jacaranda already getting out the Baptiste, and both supports are out. Source taking out Fless Bob.
The answer was USF's Bob has the better aim. And USF managed to keep this point going with a little bit of an ult bank, but it's going to be a little bit hard to play into Stony Brook's.
Minute 39 on the clock here. A little bit less time for Stony Brook to work with compared to what USF had.
Absolutely, but they are closer. They're on this corner. They really only need one good fight. Well, that's a lie. People can respawn really fast and come back instantly because we're effectively playing 2 CP.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Joyous respawn timers, but we have Zaryas out of both teams now trying to build Grav as fast as possible because Grav is going to be the game-winning ult here. But Stony Brook with the Echo copy, hopefully going to be putting in some work with that to try and put work, but also already getting kind of beamed. Rally getting used from both sides, just trying to, we're big fight. All of the buttons are getting pressed right now. Whose buttons are better? We will see as all kinds of chaos on the screen. Both Brigs in there, but Rework finds Fleth. That's the Ashe for Stony Brook, taking out all of the Zaryas. There's so many beams on the screen. Stony Brook backing away and trying to keep what little, actually they don't have any ults online. This could be such a hard fight for them as USF have the Grav coming online.
So many colors on the screen just now. USF coming up on that Echo ult and the Zarya grab. Could it be a really tough fight for Stony Brook to come back from, having, not too many ults? Getting a little close on some of them, but, still a lot to go. Inching closer to the final checkpoint here.
That was the engage the user remain coming back online. There it is, but the Grav comes out. The Echo getting bubble, going to get taken out. Here comes the coffee, probably going to drop onto the Zarya. There it is, trying to get Grav, but Osura finds Fleth. DPS line for Stony Brook, taken out.
10 seconds on the clock.
Trying to find the Zarya, give them no chance of touching. Here's the Grav, going to finish on the Zarya, and this is King's Row going to USF, keeping them alive in this series.
What an insane clutch up from USF.
That was cinema. Absolutely beautiful. We saw once again that 3rd point hold, absolutely winning it for both teams, but USF managed to hold it. They just had better ult rotation in there. Stony Brook has had nothing to match the Grav coming online, and the copy just getting a second Grav. It's like, whoa, Neutron Star upon ye.
Yeah, it was really that ult timing right at the end, at that corner. Just a lot going on, and as soon as Stony Brook was out of ults, there was no way for them to charge it up back in time.
That was that fight right before the end where all of the pretty lights and colors got pressed.
All of the colors.
Stony Brook had to win that fight, and they just didn't quite pull it out. And they had nothing in the ult bank. USF can just sit pretty, throw a copy. If that doesn't work, you have Grav online, and Stony Brook has no counter to Grav. So unless you fumble the bag generationally, there's really no losing that fight. And USF did not fumble. They went, secured their deposit, and kept themselves in this series.
What an insane series so far. Really nail-biting, edge of your seat gameplay up until the last second of every single game. Going into Game 4 soon enough, but until then, we're going to take a little break, so we'll see you soon.
I'm not your guardian. I can't see through your skin. I'm not your guardian. I can't see through your skin. Can't see through my skin. All the time. Everything will be fine. Scratching my mind. I don't know.
And we are on Dorado. I'm depressed. This map is it's a map to say the least, but on the plus side, it is a map that can snowball really, really, really easily. So there's a lot of discipline that you get to see out of both teams on how they play this. And Stony Brook already they've been showing that the Winston has been pretty well disciplined and played really well. So should get a lot of value on this. They're starting defense actually. Wait a minute. That's a little bit interesting. I'm curious to see how they're going to play this.
Yeah, very, very interesting to start on defense with Winston, but we're just going to have to see. And speaking of tanks, we do have a Diva ban in place for this game, along with an Ana ban. So this really does change up some of the comps that we've been seeing from both teams.
That also further makes me question the Winston pick. Normally, you love to run Ana with the Winston, but the Winston, he's just going to have to play. So, yeah, we even saw that. He was playing patty cake with the point. It touched it and left just because there's not a lot, especially into the Echo. Echo's just going to do so much damage to him. And the Juno Kiriko, not the best at keeping him up at range. That's going to be the weak point of this comp. The Winston can't stay very far forward.
Absolutely. Winston already pretty low on health, getting covered by this bubble, but as soon as this bubble's out, he has the potential to get shredded.
Especially with Jacaranda just sitting pretty on this high ground. The only person to match him is the opposing Echo, but Stony Brook getting a lot of damage onto Asura, and Source almost finding the kill. Such a good set of stickies, but going to get taken out by Fleth. The Sojourn putting in work. That DPS character, diabolical.
Yeah, Winston bouncing around with insane health differences every 2 seconds, every time I blink. Asura getting the pick on Fleth here.
Winston able to run around and survive everything, but Hazard is a Hazard character and still manages to find a kill. The nice little clean 1-2 there on the Sojourn, giving USF the space that they need, as the Soj is most of the damage for Stony Brook. The Ashe is kill pressure, but the Sojourn is just a demon.
Stony Brook coming up on that Kiriko ult already pretty early into the game, but Asura as well, building up the Hazard ult really quickly with a lot of damage going down.
Stony Brook had the opportunity to just engage so fast. There it is, right on the read. They want to play fast, they want to take space. They know USF are a little bit behind on ultimates, and that is what matters. Jacaranda and Rework taken out so fast, Asura to follow, and USF just have to back off.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate push for USF, but with 2 ults coming online and Source soon enough going to be there.
No, I see what he's trying to do. So USF are probably about to make a little bit of noise and then throw the echo for the back out. There he goes. He's going for it. USF just make noise mid. They're not going to see. I think the Winston just caught it. Oh, they noticed. And USF not quite going to get the back cap 3 meters away, and Source escapes with his life.
Source did a lot of heavy lifting there with that back cap. I mean, got him real close. 2 ults online. Coming up on that Rig rally.
I saw the vision, and there goes Speedring and Bob and Hazard. All of the buttons getting pressed right now as USF want to cap this point, but USF just destroyed by the Bob and Winston ult combo. Winston really in there trying to find Source, but can he get to the Mega in time? No, he cannot. About 2 meters away, not quite. In USF using a lot of ults for not much return.
Yeah, not a big payoff on those USF ults. Stony Brook only having to pop 2 to really capitalize and get a lot of damage down.
However, as we're seeing here, Jacaranda absolutely nasty with the shots, hitting a lot, getting a lot of poke damage, trying to give USF space so they can get up here and contest into the Ray and contest into the overclock. But here is the copy onto the Winston, trying to make a little bit of space, get in behind, try to pop Primal just to live and be annoying. 40 HP, but that's Ray coming out of Stony Brook. Also getting it dangerously low, and Fleth getting taken out by Jacaranda's Bob. Heart 22 going down as well, but rework trades going all around it. It is all up to Stony Brook's Winston to try and anchor the point, and he is not going to be able to do it.
All 4 on point here, so they're going to get right up to it.
Pretty fast cap. They're gonna get first point. Feeling pretty good, want to control this high ground and burn down the time bank.
Yeah, 3 minutes on the timer here, so they've got a lot of time to play with.
Ash maybe getting a little bit testy there. Coach gun onto the high ground. Going to be a little bit of bait for the Hazard, but he has to back out. Very good counterattack from Stony Brook, retaking this high ground control. Also getting disintegrated, 40 HP. Not going to get found out, but the Kiriko getting a little bit testy. You're going to have to force the Susu. Is Jacaranda hitting those headshots that he needs to? Dynamite going to get that data with the perk. You can do that now. Kitsune and Overclock both need to use. Jacaranda disintegrated. Also probably soon to follow, but lots of things as Shadow gets taken out, also taken out, and Source not going to find anything on to Fleth as Fleth cleans up the final. Source just trying to get a trade maybe onto the Sojourn before he dies, and not quite going to find it.
No, not too close on that trade, I won't lie. USF building up a lot of those ults pretty fast already. Stony Brook down on 2 ults, but going to have the Winston ult up soon enough.
Really, USF are just going to be playing for the Kitsune to take space on this high ground as they push the cart around the corner. The only issue is you really have 3 more chokes you have to play through to get to cap second, and there's not a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, there is a lot of chokes on this specific portion of the map. It's just a lot of tight space and a lot of high angles as well.
There's 3 chokes, and Stony Brook has been so good at maintaining this high ground as Asura gets disintegrated. Jacaranda as well had a little bit of a UI glitch there, showing Jacaranda on the opposing team, but Source going to get dropped as well as USF just get disintegrated and Kitsune thrown in the bin.
Unfortunate use of Kitsune there. I mean, it's a really valuable ult, and it really gives you that push and that momentum, but USF popped it a little bit early, a little bit out of place, and all the rest of the ults are coming online for the team. Wow.
Jacaranda disintegrated by Fleth on this off angle. The Sojourn, absolutely evil character, and USF can't really engage here. Just try to force the Winston off the high ground, but he's just going to be getting poked out so hard by the Ash and the Soj. And USF in a little bit of a tough spot. Not much to really do here.
Asura taking a lot of damage here, really a lot. Being pocketed by the Wu Yang, trying to keep him up. But he's kind of out of position here in a really bad spot, getting jumped by the Winston, and Fleth taking him out with a right click.
And that's going to be very painful for USF as they have to back away. That's at least 20 seconds cooked off the clock. Probably going to be 30 seconds remaining as they get onto this point and try to fight it. Capping second is going to be so difficult into Stony Brook's entire ult bait coming online, but USF have ults to match, but they don't have a Kitsune, and I think that is going to be the deciding factor here.
At that, they don't have much time to work with here.
Absolutely, USF can't really play slowly into this entire big time, but that is huge. They don't get the Kiriko. The Kiriko walks away alive, and Jacaranda taken out. Fleth traded out, and that might give them the space that they needed. Source coming out, not quite going to get Primal in time to do anything, but he's behind the high ground. But Kitsune flooding out. Shadow going to get disintegrated. No, he manages to live with the Wu Yang ult, but USF 5 seconds on the clock, and are they going to touch the cart?
They might not be able to here, honestly. Time runs out. And USF is kind of in a bad spot here for this map.
A little bit of a C9 on that cap, and what's really unfortunate is pushing just to that corner is going to be so easy for Stony Brook.
Yeah, if they keep running the way they run.
Also, all you have to do, as we see right here with the cam, or as we saw a second ago with the cam, behind, over on that corner, all you have to do is sit underneath the stairs. And the people above you can't shoot you. If they drop on you, you have the angle advantage. So, like, all you have to do is just walk it to that corner, and you win.
Pinata.
Pinata. It's such an easy point to cap right there. So USF kind of have to just hold first. Like, if they can't hold first point, it's a very tough spot to hold this map.
Yeah, absolutely. First point is going to be critical in seeing who takes this game home and takes home the whole series.
Also, I just realized Source is on support. We've had a little bit of a role swap, putting the Juno man himself over onto the Juno rework, bringing it back from a couple semesters ago, playing DPS once more.
Can't believe we missed that. I guess because it is similar characters, so...
Oh, I think they just swapped because I'm pretty sure they just swapped for this half. Also,
hopefully.
What am I looking at on the side of Stony Brook? Oh,
so,
no,
okay,
there we go.
I was going to say the Moira and the Winston is crazy work.
Moira is just an interesting character. You can kind of bully teams with Moira, but well-disciplined teams, you're not going to find what you're looking for. And Rework already finding some good headshots, just what they need, trying to poke out as much as they can. But the Winston, the Juno, so nice on this rotate, already trying to put up a little bit of a split on USF, but the Sojourn going to get pushed off. Asura doing his job, but the Winston just being able to walk forward as USF collapse, and he just gets to walk away.
Winston did get walled off from his team. Support's kind of stuck in a bad spot trying to support the Winston there, but Winston gets out of the high ground. Rework getting a pick onto Max. Big picks on the Kiriko here.
That's exactly what USF wants, but unfortunately, Stony Brook can just kind of sit here and just force the cart. That's going to be the hard part for USF. If you're Juggernaut taken out by Fleth, that's going to be very detrimental. The hard part here is that this first corner is just so easy to walk in.
It really is so easy just to walk up and, you know, press W and get in there.
USF have to play in Stony Brook's face with how close they are to this corner, but when you're playing that close, you have the opposing Sojourn, you have the opposing Ashe playing so far back that you can't do anything to him, and Winston just has so much more mobility than Hazard that he can just collapse so well on Ashe headshots from Fleth. But the Juno taken out by the Dynamite, that's going to be really helpful for USF.
Yeah, that really does help USF not get ran down as easily. You know, the Juno mobility and the speed boost, it does help them a lot.
And Theta taken out by a nice slash from the Hazard. And the Winston getting staggered as well. That is going to be detrimental for Stony Brook. Going to have to chill out, burn a little bit of time. 15 seconds probably going to be gone to that. But they still have 2 minutes on the clock.
2 minutes remain. 2 minutes and change. A lot of fighting going on very early. Winston really playing up in Asura's face here. I mean, it makes sense. You know, the tank 1v1. As much offense as they can do while allowing some space for the team. Fleth taking out Rework really early into this fight.
That's going to be rough. You need that Ashe, you need that pressure, but a questionable Hazard ult, but they still get the kills that they need. It was a zoning ultimate. It was a zoning ultimate.
Jacaranda getting these great picks, but Source gets taken out by Heart22. Shadow getting a pick onto Theta.
Honestly, that Bob out of Theta, I think, kind of just clutched that for them. Unironically, like, the damage onto Asura was kind of what they needed to force him out, and now Jacaranda in a terrible spot. Rally coming out, trying to keep Jacaranda alive. 1 HP, playing in the room, manages to live. Shadow going to get taken out, but gets a trade onto Heart22. That's going to be big. They have the Bob online. Here it is, just trying to stall. A minute 20 on the clock, but Theta taken out by that Bob as both overclocks taken out.
What an insane stall here. So many ults coming out. Jacaranda really clutching up. I mean, playing a little bit out of position in that room, but really locking in there. A minute on the clock here, though. Are they going to be able to stall when it's this close to the checkpoint?
And the problem is USF pressed 5 buttons and Stony Brook
That
pressed
is a lot
3.
of buttons.
The Winston ult going to be able to stall the point so hard. He can play so aggressive with that ult. Try to get a pick, and there's the Ray. Jacaranda 1 HP. Is he going to get taken out by the Winston? 30 HP. Not going to get found as the Winston. Not quite, but Asura gets taken out, and that is going to spell USF's demise as the rest of the team push away from the point and the cap, and it becomes that much harder for USF with 3 minutes on the clock, and all Stony Brook has to do is just walk the cart forward.
3 minutes is truly a lot of time when they don't actually have to push it up that far, just to that first corner there. And it's going to be really tough for USF to stall this, especially because they have no ults coming up here.
No ultimates online. They don't really, especially into the Winston with the Hazard, you don't really have the ability to just kind of zone as hard. Like whenever the Hazard engages with that slash, he doesn't have movement anymore. He can't really get away, and Rework almost getting found out there by the Soldier on the off angle. That is what Stony Brook can afford. They can throw DPS characters on off angles. They have time, they have space, and it is so much stress on USF to try to stay in this.
Jacaranda and Asura eating up a lot of damage here from this Winston.
And there's the flank from Fleth that we were talking about as all of USF folds, and it looks like it was looking like, but Stony Brook hasn't been on the point. USF might get one more thing, but also we're going to get staggered, and that is most likely going to be the game. Here's the cap, and there it goes to Stony Brook.
Stony Brook takes this series in NACE, UN10.
First match of the season, so close on pretty much every map. Dorado was a little bit less of a close match, but honestly, that's a map not a lot of people pull out because most people don't really like playing on Dorado because of all those chokes we were talking about. Playing offense on Dorado is just so miserable to do. All of the chokes, all the corners, the high grounds, it's so decided that it's so hard to play.
Yeah, there's just a lot to keep your eyes on and a lot that you need ults for almost constantly. So if you're not able to charge up your ults in time, unfortunately, you're probably not going to win that fight.
Yeah, just the ult rotation being a little bit rough there in the end. But all of those matches, absolutely beautiful. Great plays coming out of everyone. Some amazing Overwatch that I am so happy to start the week off with. And speaking of that, make sure to stick around for the rest of the week. Catch the rest of our streams if we have any running. I know we will have some coming in the coming weeks as all of our seasons start kicking off. UN10N's a little bit unique. We start playing a little bit earlier than most other leagues. But I'm Insomnia.
And I've been Kawari.
And we will see you in the next one. Go Bulls.